Like,
I'll try to be an adult.
We
so.
look. We don't really care about the views as long as we affect one individual and one listener. That's all we care about,
I
man.
mean, that's all that really is, man. Like, dude, shout out to my homegirl Nathania. She just ended up getting her dream job at Intel, man. Just going
let's
asking
go.
the universe for it. And I had a troop, Carla. She just got on at Meta. I'm like, yo, the girls are kicking ass out here in this. See, I told you, I can't do that.
Hey,
I
it's all
can't not
good.
swear.
Who cares? Who cares? All right, we don't care.
I'm sorry.
We're good.
We don't care.
My bad, you do. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I promise. Like, that's just who I am.
It's all good. All right. So intro for everybody listening, Twitter, whether you do Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that. Well, shit, since we already passed the 2 minutes. We are the Peachtree Devs. We got our lovely guests down at the very bottom. My boy
the illustrious. That's Captain America code right there.
As far as I'm concerned. Captain America, the code shit.
Yeah,
that's how I was introduced to you. I was like, oh, this man got a real shield. Okay, all right.
I have multiple real shields and a shield backpack. They call me Captain America code because I guess 2014, I was the first like enlisted veteran that was like really out there doing the whole transitioning from, especially the world that I was coming from, transitioning from a combat arms industry and then coming straight from combat arms into like helping other veterans just like me, transition into software engineering, right? So the name, Twilio, bunch of devs at Twilio started calling me Geek at Arms, and other people were like, no, that's Captain America. And so
Captain America, babe.
That is like, it just stuck. I was like, I just like Captain America stuff. And people were like, no, that's the Captain America code right there. So, and then Captain America became black, and it's definitely, I'm Captain America like Lee's next phase 4 of Marvel. So, so next 10 years, Anthony Mackie, you owe me a shield. So
we should add him. Be like, yo, for real, send Jerome.
I'm for real. I want a shield. Like, you're in Atlanta, man. Like, I know he in Atlanta doing the season 2. This is where they do all the Marvel stuff. So give me a shield.
All that shit's filmed here.
Yeah. They see
Speaking
him.
of Cap, when we had coffee, I guess OG Cap is what we call him now. Old Cap.
Steve Rogers. Yeah.
Steve Rogers. He was out there filming, right?
Yeah, so we were at Starbucks, and then Marietta Square, they're filming a new show. And I don't know who's filming it, but I know that Chris Evans is in it, and he had to be at Marietta Square. And I was like, that's wild. I was like, okay, this Atlanta. I'm learning so much. Like where I was when I was in Tennessee, I used to think that it was Louisiana was like where all the filming is because NOLA, like New Orleans, is everywhere in film industry. But now I'm learning so much about filming and Atlanta and like how Atlanta's becoming the mecca of or people, Georgia itself is coming where people come to film, and because the film industry rebates are just so good, the taxes and stuff, the deals that they get, so I was like, oh, that's pretty dope. Yeah. I don't know how to feel about that one. We brown people like, hashtag Team Stacy. Like, I don't know about.
Hey. He put the tax breaks there.
Like, no, I think those were there before.
I know. We somehow found a way to say shout out to Kim.
I first noticed it.
Cannot take a team, pick a team because of nonprofit status. You can't be political. Mm-hmm. But I personally can say I'm not Team Kemp. That was all Redrick. Like, I'm just gonna throw him.
Oh yeah, that was all me. That was all me just saying that.
I just want to make sure.
At the end of the day, I'm all about who helps the children here in the state of Georgia, who can most benefit them. Which I agree. It doesn't have to be Team Kemp. It can be the other team. I'm trying to speak. I don't know how legal matters you're being, so I'm trying to speak.
No, you can do it. I can.
Oh yeah. I'm rocking with whoever. I'm rocking with whoever is gonna have the best policy, honestly, for me as well as for the children here in Georgia. So that's what I'm for. So
yeah, I was gonna say the movie stuff. It's been popping since we were all roughly in college. Because I remember the first movie where I noticed it. It was XMen First Class. At the end, that whole scene that they did, like the. What is it? I guess the Bay of Pigs scene, like with the because they kind of reenacted the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Oh,
there.
with the X-Jet and
Yeah. And so they shot
X-Jet
that in
and
like
Navy.
Savannah or something, Jekyll Island or Savannah or something like that.
That makes a lot more sense. I'll see. I'm gonna look at that again because
Mhm.
Savannah actually, Savannah's beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
I went there a few years ago, and it was just a lot of just man. Outside was beautiful, even though it's very funny. I'm learning that my wife has like a kryptonite response to dogwood, and it seems that is like the #1 tree in Georgia. Dogwood, like
Especially right now, yeah.
yeah, she just I had to take yesterday off because she was like she's down like how. I was like,
So, question about that, because like a lot of people who migrate here, like my wife, for instance, she's from by way of New York, she's from Florida. She can't take the pollen. Like sometimes, is it like the same thing? Because I was kind of born in this shit, so I was kind of born in the pollen, the dogwood trees. I actually enjoy seeing the
I was
dogwood
born in
trees
the
bloom.
darkness. I'm sorry. I'm a real nerd. Like,
Hey, bro,
I'm a huge.
You see the comic book stuff in the background.
Yeah, that was funny to me. Yeah. So for her, yes. For me, not so much. I guess the side effect of all the travel with military and stuff is you can pretty much put me anywhere and I'm gonna chill and like not really get sick. So downside, I mean the upside of spending most of your youth in third world countries is you don't get sick anymore. So I think I've been sick maybe twice in the past 10 years. So
Yeah, I had a buddy in the Navy, and he said like all the shots that they gave you in the military, just like they make you immune to everything, is what he
pretty
told
much,
me.
except like gunfire. That's the one thing they haven't worked on yet. So, but yeah, they give you a lot of shots, which is why like I don't even care because I'm like by this time in my career, whatever shots they give me can't be worse. Whatever Uncle Sam hit me with, so it is what it is. Like people like, oh, they gonna put G5 nanobots, and you're like, shit.
You're like, give me G5. I need that good signal.
I know, right? I want that good signal. What are you talking about? Cell phone bill high as hell. Like, come on.
You can start your own hotspot company.
With it, I don't care. Like,
you could always spin it a positive out of every negative, right?
Yeah, that's me. I'm like, oh, yeah, what for real? Free Wi-Fi? I'm down with it. Let's go. So, but yeah.
All right. So from I'm trying to get this. All right. So the story of transitioning from, I guess, because you're at Air Force, right?
Yes. People have this idea that Air Force doesn't like do hardcore stuff. What we do is just the standard of living is better. It's not the jobs aren't as dangerous. It's like, okay, I still got shot at, but at the end of the day, I went to a base that had a nice swimming pool and I get eat lobster. But bullets don't really care.
Bullets are bullets.
Yeah, bullets are equal opportunity like assholes, right? So they don't really care. Like there's still mortars going on and IEDs at the end of the day. But you get on base, it's pretty nice. Like, any Army and Marine will tell you that, you always pray that you deploy with the Air Force because you're going to be taken care of. Because we're smaller, so our budget goes further. It's just, it's like any other like financial thing, right? If you give me, if I give you $100 million and I give you $100 million, but guess what? Now you got to split your $100 million with 40 people, and he has to split his with 3. Guess what? He and his team of 3 are gonna have a much better time than you and your team of 40. Y'all still gonna have a good time. Y'all gonna have everything you need, but this 3, they're gonna be spending money on shit they don't need. Like why? Especially with Air Force, our primary focus is bombs and logistics, right? Moving things from A to B. Because that's what true combatants look at. If you see the war, the illegal war that's going on in Ukraine, rookies talk tactics, pros talk logistics, right? You can, in 3 days, the U.S. military can move a person from, move like an entire regiment from the U.S. to another country and have them, eating lobster by Sunday, right? Whereas, Putin, not so much. He's having a little problem feeding his team. So I'm like, oh, you can't feed the team, homie? Like, how are you a boss, but you can't feed the team? That's crazy. Like, Ricky Rose would never. I'm sorry. I just like making jokes about that guy. So I was Air Force, I was security forces, I was Phoenix Raven, United States Air Force, which was essentially my job was to be attached to a plane. I would go wherever that plane went. I would do the missions to like help secure whatever cargo that we had. Sometimes the cargo was dignitaries, sometimes the cargo was criminals. For about 6 months of my career, the cargo was drugs, and I would make sure they got from A to B safely. There was one phase of my career where I was attached to the DEA, and I would go from Florida to Brazil, and I had to fly with that plane. And the goal was, we would come to go to Brazil. We had all go in. They secure to fly this strip, and we would go in. We would secure drugs from these places, like favelas, drug cartel. It's crazy out there in Brazil. Like everybody thinks about, all people think about is like thongs and booties. So there's a whole nother side of Brazil that you do not want to mess with.
The favelas, right?
Yeah. So we were out there, doing that stuff. And I tell people, like, when people ask me my worst deployment, I'm like, it was actually Brazil. Like Brazil sucked, right? I was under 21, couldn't go anywhere. We were getting shot at every day. It was wild. So go there, and we get the drugs, bring it back to the States. We get to Florida, they take it to Dover, and they destroy those drugs, right? That was the process, right? So that was my job for like 6 months in the military. Like, oh, okay, so I'm like 20 picking up cocaine. It was like
Grand Theft
the
Auto.
wildest shit ever. I know, right? I know, right? I'm like totally unqualified for this, but cool. Like no one told me I was going to do this. So yeah, left the military, and I was thinking, I did a lot of cool things. I'm gonna, I have my DD 214. Foreman says, "Oh, you were honorably discharged. He qualifies for everything that he's supposed to have. Here's his magic ticket." Got out thinking, oh, I'm gonna, have my shot, enjoy life and stuff, or there's a whole nother thing going on the other side of the base called the Great Recession. And I did not know what that was until I was out. And I was like, oh, so people were not getting jobs. And my skill set said I'd be a great cop, I'd be great for air marshal, great security forces, all these great, government jobs that you carry a gun. But guess what happened? None of those government jobs carry guns. Were hiring because the market was saturated with people who were really good with guns. So I had to learn a new skill. I happened to see a commercial about ITT Tech, and I happened to see another commercial about like Zuckerberg and a bunch of other nerds talking about code. There was one dude from the Miami Heat who looks like a raptor. I have no idea who that guy's name is.
Chris Bosh.
Yeah,
he went to Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
So, computer science major.
Yeah, so he was in the commercial too, and I had, who are these nerds? What are these nerds talking about code? So I went, I remember SQL from ITT Tech commercial, and I went to Starbucks, picked up a book on SQL or SQL, however you want to say it, I don't care. And I taught myself SQL, and I got my first job, ironically, with Department of Homeland Security as a certified TWIC agent, doing data analytics with all the background check tools to ensure that people could get access to our waterways. Like in the nation, like people don't know that, but like when you like working on the Mississippi, you're off the coast or like Gulf Coast, anything, you have to get permission from the government to do those jobs because those are considered national assets, right? And so if you have felonies and stuff like that, you can't work on the Mississippi River, you can't work off the coast, any of that. So Gulf Coast can't do any of that. So Louisiana, fishermen stuff, they all have to get this essentially card, this identification card with a chip in it that's for 5 years, says you're good, you're qualified to work on offshore, right? So that could, because terrorists and stuff like that. So I was doing that, and I was like, "Yo, I'm getting paid." It was $50,000 at my height of my military career. Even when tax free, I was getting paid like maybe 35,000, and that was like tax free 35,000. I was like,
Yeah.
and that was like within a year, I went from 35 to 50, and I was like, yo, this shit's kind of lit. Like, I don't it's air conditioned. I can stop and go eat lunch. Like, I'm, wearing normal people clothes. The amount of people that want to kick my ass is dramatically like lessened. And I was like, why aren't people telling veterans about this industry? Right. So that's what I started doing. I started telling every veteran I could about tech. And people were like, okay, that's cool. Until I made, VetsWhoCode, because I guess real there was no real pipeline for helping veterans back then.
Mhm.
So I made VetsWhoCode because there was a veteran in my hometown that needed help. And I created VetsWhoCode, raised $10,000, 27 hours, helped the family with this veteran. And that's when people start paying attention. Like, any kid that can raise like $10,000 in 27 hours is somebody who we should be focusing on.
Mhm.
And it just went uphill from there. And I started looking at how the market was. I wanted the thing that I do to be different from what everybody else. Because what I noticed really fast, especially in the code bootcamp sector, is once you graduated, it was on to the next class, which sucks. If you're like, you got 3 months, and then you have like a few months, after that. And then beyond that, no one's really, paying attention. No one's really messing with you. Two, after no one's, it's not like everything's codified to move fast, and it's not really meant to take care of you. So I was like, I'm going to change all of that. And that's what we do at VetsCode. Like, things that we do that like GA and Hack Record do, for instance, we don't take more than 13 people per cohort, right? 13 troops. That's all I want, right? Because I'm doing one-on-ones with them. I'm assigning them mentors based upon the strengths and weaknesses. I teach phase one of the cohort intentionally, just so I can get to know the strengths and weaknesses of every team member, every person we're training. And that helps us have not only a great success rate, which is at 97%, it also helps us have a great retention rate. Most veterans come back when they're looking for a second job or their third job. I had a veteran I hadn't heard from in months. She hit me up, and I just said, congrats to Carla, right? She was like, hey, I just got on with Meta. And I was like, it's like 11 p.m. I'm like, hell yeah, girl. Like, congrats.
Turn up.
And yes, I know, right? So I was like, hell yeah. She was like, I cannot wait to come back in channel and talk to y'all about this. But that's super cool. Like, knowing that you had that impact on people. Because like Nihil, we talked about that a lot. Like, does the money after, it's statistically proven, like, once you get past a certain dollar amount, it really doesn't do anything for you. And the thing that motivates me is the lives we change. Money is great, and I'm saying that. Like, I'm not, but I like the idea that at 35, I've helped 274 people who, come from a similar background to me, that I do get jobs, right? That's cool. I put 300 million in the United States economy, and I did that before I was 40. And I did that working 2 hours an evening, right? Not a lot of people even say that because of how I did things.
Meanwhile, Congress people,
I know, they make way more money. Yeah, I was like, wow, you guys are very inefficient, right? And that's always been exciting. Like, even now, this phase of my life, I've helped 2 of my family members learn how to write code, and they've gotten their first tech job. And they've been helping like other family members who are young. Like, we have a 19-year-old cousin, right? And they are helping him learn. Oh, he's 21. I'm sorry, he just turned 21, and they are helping him learn how to write code, and they're mentoring him. So I don't have to, because they're like, Jerome's busy. We got you, right? And Jerome's busy saving, he's Captain America. He's busy saving the world. Let us get him, right? Let us work with you. So it's super. It's super cool, and I have. When I'm not doing that, I'm always trying to mentor other underrepresented people in technology. Like, I think the coolest part about moving to Atlanta is I already had like a shadow network because I had helped like 5 people get jobs here, just working with them solo. And I have a young woman in Florida. She's getting on Nathania. She's just getting on with Intel. She comes from the nonprofit sector and she wanted to be a program manager. And we've been chopping it up and we're talking and working through her stuff and giving her advice. And now she's moving on to Intel. And she's like, this is like a 60% jump in my salary. And I was like, I know, right? That's wild. So, you know, I absolutely love it. And it's one of those things where I get to try new things with my mentor, with the kids I mentor, that I can come back and codify with VetsWhoCode. And then I get to see, oh, that worked. This is super cool. That worked too. Right. And I just like, you know, that's what it's about, right? You want to be a force multiplier, right? Like every person I help, you know, is a family that gets to know, feed their kids without, you know, especially in wild times like this. And, you know, the economy's changing where, you know, the future is now. If you don't know, have some technical skills in the next 20, 30 years, you're going to be out of luck. And whether people believe it or not, minorities of all shapes and sizes, whether it's LGBTQIA, Black, Brown, veterans, they're all being left behind in the tech wars, like those of these jobs. And I'm just trying to help as many people to level the playing field as I possibly can. And that's where I go with it. And I'm just like, and I'm having a blast. And because, you know, it's a dopamine hit, right? When somebody hits you up that they got a job because of what you taught them, and then they hit you up, oh, I got another job of what you taught me, and I'm making more money, and this is job number 3. Oh, I'm big boys, I'm fang gang in this house. I'm like, yes, like we oh yeah.
Yeah, no, like
that's and those are the best calls. Like, oh snap, you fang gang, and we'd be like, it's hilarious. So that's you know,
that's
it's just
exactly it. Man,
it motivates you.
It's like,
it's addictive. I'm not gonna lie, it's a little bit addictive.
I feel like that dopamine hit, like with like somebody that you help put on, they're like, oh hey, I made 30 racks more. That feels better than like if I make 30 racks more now. Like
it does. It feels like, you know, when it hits your bank account, it should hit my bank account. Like that's how it feels. And it's like young. I can only like say like, hey, this feels like when Drake first dropped his album. Like that's the only way I can like really say, like, it feels like when Drake first dropped his album, or when like that era when like Weezy was like, Lil Wayne was just going off on every song,
mixtape
like,
after mixtape.
And I was just like, why are people letting this man feature on their tracks when he's gonna murder their tracks harder than them? But that's how it feels. Like this must be how Weezy feels like when he like takes that, you know, he does that signature sound, or he like takes a hit of his smoke. Yeah, he smokes, he likes it, he takes a drag, and then he just goes off.
Stream of consciousness, and you're just like, what the hell, dude? Like,
I'm like, that must be that hit. And I was like, yo, man, and it's like I said, it's so addictive. Like, and I think people don't know, and it helps you, right? A lot of my like, when I try to talk, people ask me about, you know, projects. Oh, like I get those weird projects. That number one question I get: what all were your side projects? Because people want to ask me that, like, what side projects help you get into tech? And I'm like, only one, VetsWhoCode. And they were like, really? I was like, yeah, because I don't believe in projects. I believe in products. People are always, and hiring managers especially, they always going to respect something that you build that does a thing more than, you know, oh, this, you know, garbage to-do app. You got another timer, great. Another Put-A-Roma timer, great. Another to-do app, great.
We see that get cloned it from somewhere.
Yeah, another, yeah, and they don't think that, they don't know that's how the conversations. And I had a CEO had a conversation when he was like, "Yo, I am so sick and tired of front ends coming to me with static React websites. Like, what on earth? Why are y'all doing this? Like, why do they do? Like, isn't React supposed to be used to be able to do something dynamic? So every time a junior dev brings me something, I just like I'm being nice to them during the interview, but I really just want to kick them out my office, or get them off the chat. I was like, dang." And we were just spitting, and he was just like, I cannot stand it. It's my pet peeve. I hate it when a junior dev brings me a static like on their portfolio. Their portfolio is React, but it's all static shit. Like why?
Yeah, that's
That's not
like
how it's meant.
no, definitely
Like
like having a product to show is like it's like you said, like the force multiplier. Like when I got my first programmer gig, like I literally pulled up my I think it was like an Android Nexus 4 at the time. I busted it out. I was like, yo, I made this app. It's in the app store. Like, click on it, download it, do this, do that. And then just like having something that's actually live, like it's such a big difference maker, like something that
yeah,
people use. And like you could at the time, like you could see and like it wasn't anything impressive. It was like something like 30 something users had downloaded my app, but like I was like, yo, 30 people are using this. This isn't just some
that's
bullshit tutorial that like I followed.
I never forget. I never forget the internet. One of the interviews I had, they were asking me about. All right, I said I only really focus on VetsWhoCode, and they were like, "Yeah, but okay, so what can you tell us about VetsWhoCode?" I was like, "So we average during the non." I was like, I pulled up a dashboard. Like we average about 100, 200 hits a day for people when we're not in teaching, and then it ratchets up to like 1,000, 1,050 hits a day when we are in teaching phase. I was like, we do this. We're using Gatsby, a static site generator, but we also have all these APIs from MailChimp that pulls in. We also have APIs for our CI/CD pipeline, so that way we can monitor that and it just kicks off. We use a lot of GraphQL in the back end for our blog, so that way I can write a blog on Contentful and spin it up, and then CI/CD pops in and everything. I was saying we were just chopping it, and he was like, wow, so you think? I was like, yeah. So VetsWhoCode as a product has, we focus on making it, work. And I was telling them about how we focus on a chat ops first approach. So I was like, yeah, nothing at VetsWhoCode matters or works if it can't work with our chat tool, right? So I'm like, if it doesn't plug, if we can't use Slack API for it, then I don't even look at it if I can't integrate it with Slack. Like that's just how I am. He was like, so I was like, because number one tool is communication. I was like, I can't communicate with my team. If I can't go have a BDOC, a base defensive operations center for everything I'm doing, then it's useless. I need a single source of truth where I can go, and Slack is that for me. And I can plug in GitHub, I can plug in my Notion stuff, I can get our MailChimp data, I can email from there. I was like, that's the process. And it's like, so, because, and I'm sitting there because I've done this, like, oh, that's how you do that. It's like, all right, so how do you mentor people? And I'm like, okay, I believe in a crawl, walk, run process where I teach them something. And then while I'm constantly having them reiterate the thing I teach them as they're doing higher skills. So every time I teach them something new, they have to go and do the things that I already taught them over and over and over again. So that way that it becomes muscle memory. I want you to go through the process of going on GitHub and doing git checkout B, first initial, last name, / the name of the feature you're going to do so many times that it's second nature for you.
Muscle
Like
memory.
I want you to understand. I don't even want you to think about Git flow. I want you to know Git flow, right?
And
Because
sorry to interrupt you, but it's kind of crazy because like the junior engineers I've interviewed over the time, probably like over the past like 4 or 5 years, a lot of them didn't know Git at all. So the fact that you're actually teaching those actions and stuff like that, I mean, that's a huge plus right there.
I believe that the biggest weakness that junior engineers come out the gate with is lack of collaborative coding capabilities, right? So in the end, if you don't know, yes, I've implemented a pairing first paradigm at VetsWhoCode. I'm like, no, if you have a problem, ask someone. If you're a senior, you're not allowed, like because we're military, right? I call it shooter spotter or sniper spotter, right? So, but how I do it, the shooter is the junior, the spotter is the senior, right? The senior, you can look up resources, you can talk about pseudocode, you can do all that stuff. You cannot touch the keys and pair. You can talk through it. You can even talk about the code and do that stuff. You cannot physically touch the keys. Junior has to do all the touching, right? You can tell them you can tell them what to type. Yeah, they got to do all the typing though, right? Because that's what I believe. I believe in I believe in knowledge transfer of that, right? Like in creating a safe environment. Static site generator, like Gatsby, site that does not dynamically change. So you look at like how Facebook uses React. You go to you go to the Facebook status, you type it in and it starts moving, and then you save it, and then it uploads, and now your status is there. That's dynamic. Static is the website isn't doing
like a landing page.
Yeah, landing page. There you go.
Mhm.
So
like a lot of devs will do that. They'll make their portfolio in like the coolest tech, but like, and this is what I always tell my friends, like I work at Fang. I've been in the software game coming up on 10 years. And it's like my personal page, it's a Squarespace. I just can't be bothered to build something that's static. Like, why spend all that time and energy in that when I can spend that time building a cool product to show off? And I'll have links to like products that I've built on the static site, but like I don't need to worry about
I don't even have a static site because of all the stuff I've done.
Yeah,
So,
well, I mean, we all can't be superstars, Jerome. Come on now.
I am not a superstar.
300 million in the community. Come on now.
Because
I focus
on the habit, right? It's the
No,
brick,
I agree
right?
though.
It's what Will Smith said. It's the brick, right? The results is because of how I focus on how to do one thing at a time well. Then I move on to the next thing on a time well, right? All right, here's the core, and I focus on, because I come from combat action background. I focus on how do I get as close to live as possible while keeping it safe, right? So that and that's where the results speak for stuff. I saw an article from Free Code Camp with Quincy, and he was talking about trying to do a university, and I was like, well, that's not what the CEOs want. The CEOs don't want more university grads. They want people who can come in and hit the ground running. So you need to focus on education. You need to focus on education in a format to where you're flattening the curve between education and industry experience, right? Because that's number one issue that they're having.
Some basic stuff, like you said, like Git flows, collaborative tools.
Yeah.
What are the common, like how to deploy just on common hosting platforms and certain things like that. I mean, I haven't really looked at the VetsWhoCode curriculum, but I imagine these are things that
those are things that we focus on. And I tell people all the time, like your goal should be to make it so that the journey after you is easier than the journey before you. And I can see where like people like Quincy don't see that, because I'm like, Quincy's main tech project has always been Free Code Camp. He has never worked on a large company or billions of dollars of stuff is coming through. So he only focuses from the thing he knows, which is education. And I was like, that's not what Microsoft wants. Google isn't even asking for degrees. Amazon ain't asking for degrees. So why are we talking about degrees, right? When you come about accreditation, the only real thing that comes from it is money that you can actually get from the government, and being able to transfer your credits. But if everything's remote, why are you transferring credits? Right? It don't matter. So it was a weird, antiquated thought process for me in the world that we are today. And that's where for VetsWhoCode, I'm like, okay, how can I flatten this curve? Like, we're looking at data engineering, and I'm like, okay, so how can I, as an instructor, pick up a problem that our veterans want to solve and use that problem to teach them, right? So when we're building our data engineering curriculum, we're thinking of the feature that we're going to build. What's the data? What's the real data that we care about? What's the real data that I care about, right? Soldier suicide, right? That's hands down for me. That's my biggest problem, because I'm security forces, and I have my AFSC has a 50% drop rate of where people are either committing suicide or getting out within the first term. 50% security forces troops just don't make it. And I'm like, I want to get behind the data of that, right? And soldier suicide and military suicide in a larger scheme. I'm like, there's a disconnect on what DOD is telling the VA and what VA is telling DOD. And I'm looking like I'm actually working to get those giant data sets. So that way, when we're talking about Python, we're talking about notebooks and things like that, and terraforming, using Terraform, Docker container, set up your Terraform. Then from there, we're going to do our Jupyter notebooks, and we have our CI/CD pipeline. So you'll be able to push that data to a real live data D3 project. We want them to be able to, because we're going to be using D3 and JavaScript on that part, but also Python for the data, right? So when I'm looking at that, I'm like, that is that's the most important. That's a project that's gonna get everybody off their like laurels. We're working with the new cohort, the feature they're making. We call them the Romeo Golf cohort, because they're building a resume generator, right? Because no offense to the guys at Google, no offense to the guys anywhere, but most military to civilian resume generators suck, because the people that are building them and are doing the data, they do not have the type of metrics that we have, and they do not come from our world where we focus on what we like to call the E4 mafia. So we focus on those people that did 4 to 6 years in and they got out, right? So it's really hard for them to quantify that, especially if you have zero experience in tech, or everybody that was who's in your job has, everybody that's in Google was either an officer or served 20 years before they got to Google. So it's really difficult, right? Because they don't see that, hey, if you have an EOD troop, EOD, explosive ordnance disposal, they are training and like they're having be acutely aware of immediate haptic feedback and understanding their user, which at the end is a terrorist person that makes bombs, right? Makes them perfect for UX design and UX research, right? People don't think that, but I'm like, who understands user experience more than a person EOD? Like,
it's all UX at the end of the day. Like,
yeah, the end result of their job,
it's life and death UX. Like,
yeah, is user experience on hard mode, right? So like they can't see that because they haven't looked at the world through those eyes, because they're not working with those people hands-on, right? It's just, let me take your AFSC, let me take what I think are the soft skills that every veteran have, and let me take the hard skills, try to translate into something that people can understand. That's not how it works all the time. You have to look, you have to go deeper than what's on a DD 214 to figure that out, and that's what we're doing. Like, we have one troop, he was a paralegal, and he's on the user research component of the project. And I'm like, no, I'm going to be sending you hundreds of veterans to speak to that have transitioned into tech. You are going to get on my nerve. I'm going to get on your nerves real fast, right? And I'm like, we are going to do this. We're going to do this thing right. So the people who come to us, the people who we serve, which is each other, are never going to have to worry about some big box program just spitting out some average stuff, especially when it comes to a tech degree. Because I was like, on paper, my job, I shouldn't have been qualified for a tech degree, right? For a tech job, right? But when I look at, I've met 3 other security forces people who all happen to be front end. And when I talk to them, it's like, okay, attention to detail, because of the documentation that we have to, SOPs, right? You have to know your SOPs. We have a acute level of attention to detail because we're the first person that most civilians interact with when you come to an Air Force base, right? When you're a junior, you're the first person. So, especially back in the green BDU days, you had to shine your boots. Your uniform had to be starched to the point where you had creases that could cut a person. Like, your beret had to be sexy. Like, it was crazy, right? So I tell people all the time, like, okay, that makes sense that we all of us ended up playing around in JavaScript and on the front end on the UI shit, right? That makes a lot of sense now. So
it's interesting because, like, you mentioned, like, you have your SOPs, and that's just docs, really, at the end of the day. Right? That's the manual, right? Like the military, there's a manual for everything, essentially.
Yeah. And and I try to push the first thing that the veterans get civilianized on is they just want to go to the videos and stuff. I'm like, no. The number one strength you can keep from the military, beyond staying in shape, because that's just going to catch up when you're out here with these civilians eating all of their lemon pepper wings and shit. That shit catches up to you. Trust me.
Side note, today, like, I got my haircut today, and I was talking to my barber. Apparently, Magic City wings are on Uber Eats now.
Yeah, they're on Uber Eats.
Putting that out there, do with that what you will, listeners.
I'm still a wing nut guy.
That is. See, I've tried the one, what's the Wingstop? Because Wingstop was, that's where the first time I saw Rick Ross was in Memphis when he opened a Wingstop. And I was like, since then, I'm a Wingstop fan. So,
okay.
I like Rick Ross. He motivates me. That's like my Getting Focused playlist. He's like the first song I listen to. I listen to Hustlin' at least once a day. Like, I gotta get, like when I want to get in the zone.
You need that song to get you right, man.
Yeah, I got like
his album Mastermind had come out right around the time that like I was getting serious into like coding and stuff like that. So I just remember like all day just blasting that. Like The Devil Is a Lie was like my shit.
I love that song. That's on my playlist too.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, I have a very hood playlist. Like this company got started called Centered. They asked me, they did a podcast for me about like how do I get focused in my zone, and I was like, listen, I am not any of your little pithy white dude programmers that come through here and they listen to electronica and game music and stuff. I'm pushing pixels, but in like my headphones, I'm pushing like real
pushing packs.
Yeah, I'm doing like yes, I'm over here like
listening to Young Dolph every day, man, to get my mind right.
Yes, so I'm doing all that.
It's kind of funny when you brought up the whole Air Force thing, because my cousin was also in the Air Force, but he got a D1 scholarship to play football for them, and then he had to do his tour after. But I never forget being 14 years old, seeing that campus, and if you ever been to that campus in like Colorado, yeah, that thing is humongous. And I don't know, it's probably changed ever since then. And once he told me, he was like, "Yeah, I get paid per monthly. I get a stipend just to go to school." I was like, "You get paid to go to school?"
Yes, well. Yeah, they get a monthly stipend, especially Air Force Academy, right? I think Air Force Academy, at least in my circles, it's fallen off because people want to be pilots, but it don't make sense for pilots anymore. We need like drone pilots, and they're not. The kids aren't. They've watched too much. What's that movie where like the Navy guys? They were like, I've never watched it. Huh?
Top Gun.
Yeah, Top Gun. I was like, because they're Navy pilots, like whatever. So I was like, whatever. I don't. Okay, like dudes who fly planes on ships. Why not just come over here and fly planes from the ground like a normal person would? So they fall in love with that movie, and they get here and they're like, well, the mission directive, if you want to be a pilot, is we're pushing so much, rightfully so, right? Because I'm all on the smarter Air Force mission of like focusing more on cyber, telecommunications, psyops, and drone warfare, because harsh reality is the world is different. You need to be able to, the world is different and the combat has to be safer. And that was my biggest issue when I was coming back. I was like, why are we still putting boots? I like how I'm a big fan of how we do it in the Air Force, how we blow everything up and then we send like Marines. I was like, we're first on the ground. Yeah, Marines are like, we're always first to fight. I'm like, yeah, after we lit like a nice little blanket of missiles. Like, yeah, it's easy to go in a room and start beating up people after they've already been blown up. Like, it's cool. It's all right. My phone's gonna be buzzing. Like, oh, so you talking shit? I'm like, yes, I'm talking shit. Like, sibling rivalry. What's good? So, but yeah, like that's like that, the whole sort of things like that I'm always thinking about, right? Thinking about with VetsWhoCode. In the end, especially the next 5 years, my whole mission is I want us to be a force multiplier for everyone. And we're actually in talks with Amazon, do something really cool with them. And like my entire mission in now that I'm at Microsoft, and crazy thing about being at big tech is you see the world so different. Like after it's almost like overwhelming. I when you look at tech in a manner that you do not look at tech when you're like,
at startup,
just at a media company or at startup. You look at tech and it's such a different scale. I would surmise it to like, this is probably how it feels to like when you see like the Earth from space, like because you're no longer thinking in you're thinking in billions and trillions and different time zones, and
you're thinking of just like I work at Amazon and just like all the data centers that we have everywhere and just the scale of like the different projects that are going on. You're just like you're affecting billions of lives, quite literally. It's
crazy. It's humbling and it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
So like that's what we want to do, right? I'm like, okay, I tell people our dream in the next 5 years, we want to be Annapolis, right? We want to be Air Force Academy, but we want to do it for code and want to keep it remote, and we want to be, I like the idea that people treat the hashtag coin different from other nonprofits or other organizations, right? You know, when they see our logo, people know, oh, there's not a lot of those guys around. So let me go and like talk to this person at least, like versus, you know, a big community where, you know, you can't really tell the quality of the person. But, you know, that's always my goal, right? I like the idea of, you know, scaling, you know, scale of depth versus scale of width, because people don't really think of scale of depth these days. Everybody forgets that, you know, diamonds, you know, they are so expensive because, you know, they don't put a lot of them on the market, right? Especially high quality ones, right? So if they did that, the price of diamonds or gold and stuff like that would go down, right? And so if we ethically keep it, we can like ethically keep it sourced in the minimum, the price of diamonds go up. And that's how I treat my troops. They're diamonds. I'm like, yeah. I tell them, like, you know, I had somebody say something weird on the internet, and I have this troop whose name is Andrew James. And I was like, straight up, I can put Andrew James, Schuster Braun, and I'll just throw a random from VetsWhoCode in there versus your entire cohort, and they will dog walk you. I'm just gonna let you know. Like, just keep it 100, right? In my house, I have 2 seniors that dog walk your whole team. So it is what it is. And they're like, wow, yeah. I was like, but I'm like, I invest in my people, right? I put my people in. I make sure that my people are around the best people. They get the best resources. I'm hanging out with Mark Grabowski. We're working together to make sure these guys get good free stuff that helps them level up. We're doing drill once a month where they're talking to high level experts, and they're able to ask questions based on what those high level experts come, right? You know, they're able to talk to, you know, we have the top recruiter in the game with Taylor on the board, right? We dive deeper than any like program. We look at things from, we create user personas when we're drilling them, like we do all this crazy stuff. My notion looks like I am trying to like rule the world. So it's wild. Like, and that's what I want. I want it.
You're portraying Captain America, but you're really Lex Luthor.
No, I'm really. I tell people I'm really Nick Fury. Nick Fury, right?
And that's the thing, though, right? Because like he does the Avengers, and like you kept it very intentional with the limit of 13 people only in each of your troops, right? Like, because that was something that I thought about when I did Hack Reactor years ago. The founders of Hack Reactor were actually doing the day-to-day work, and there was only like 20 of us kids, like, period. And now seeing and like hearing similar stories with General Assembly, like there's a lot of good people that come out of it, but then there's also like, as you go to scale, how do you keep the quality up? And you're kind of putting that cap where you're like, no, I do the one-on-ones with everybody. And a lot of people find that tough, but I mean,
you know, when you think, I think of scale in a totally different manner, right? I'm not here to try to put 100, because, you know, in the end, the way VetsWhoCode works, we don't get donations unless people get jobs, right? So since that's how we work, there's no real incentive to try to put, you know, do asses in seats. I'm not charging y'all $17,000. I'm not working with the GI Bill. I'm only working with, because I don't want anything in the way to tell me who can come through VetsWhoCode, because I want to make sure, you know, Eddie Prislak, he's my freaking Hemdall, right? Like, he makes sure that that the people that come into VetsWhoCode are squared away, like, and I love it, right? I have this Marine tanker turn like CTO at the door, like making you go through 3 interviews before you even come and talk to me, right? Like, that's the goal. That's always been the goal. You know, I don't want anything that's going to keep me from making good talent. And the minute the veterans become customers, talent's going to die, right? I know that, right? Because I've seen it at all these big schools, that the minute they come from talent to customers. I hear horror stories from boot camp instructors, like, oh, kid saw something on Hacker News or HN, and he decided that this is what he want to learn. Like, well, that's not in our curriculum. He's like, well, I'm paying this amount of money for it. Like, teach me this, or I'm going to go somewhere else, right?
Yeah,
I hear that once a year. Like, so I'm like, my goal is, I never want the talent to become a customer. I always want the veteran to be treated like here, like, you know, my goal is I'm finding diamonds in the rough, I'm trying to make you to a superstar. Even if you don't become a superstar, you're gonna become, you know, B-list. You may not be Beyonce, but you'll be J.I. Aiko. People still come up to your shows, right? You know, that's how I look at it, right? So like that's my goal, right? Even if you don't become, you know, Jay-Z. I mean, Jay-Z's a bad analogy because anybody below Jay-Z, saying anybody, that's just disrespectful, right?
We get where you're coming from. Though. We get where I'm not gonna lie.
J. Cole. I love J. Cole though.
Jerome, this might be the most inspirational thing, like story I've heard all day. You take the crown, definitely, because it aligns to what like my end goal in terms of just like building that program to just for kids, like starting off in my community from like Lithonia, of just a 1-year program. You give me 1 year, you learn the curriculum, you go from there, you get hired. Because all these kids,
I'm so jealous of you right now. Because
think about it,
1 year. No, you're right. Because like I love it.
These kids growing up, these kids growing up, and I've been a part of this community. Like they need to bring money home to their essentially their mother. So they need to put on for the family. So essentially, if I can make money right now selling drugs, why even go to college and wait 4 or 5 years? Instead, build that program for them to just do 1 year, just 1 year of school. And then from there, you can go to any company. Because think about it. These companies, all they care about is retaining talent. Why not get a kid at 19 years old? You can groom him or her, all the way up to like 24, 25. By then, they'll realize, oh, shit, I can make a lot more money and not have the college debt that, you know, the next person has. The next junior is going to have at 25 years old.
Everything you said is like my dream. Like that is my number one constraint with VetsWhoCode. If I in a perfect VetsWhoCode world, I would take 4 13 people squads with 1 like apprentice, and I would train them for a year straight, and they wouldn't even have to worry about anything. And then I would unleash them on the world. Like that would be perfect because oh man, like I am jealous because the biggest constraint is people got to feed their families, right? I'm dealing with adults, right? So I got to get them like, you know, it took like I had to literally say, no, we're moving to 4 months instead of 3 because I'm like, it doesn't make sense to even try 3 months. Like we have to focus on 4 months to get quality talent and to make the talent quality. But people look at that as that's a long ass time. I'm like, you know what's the longest time? Not getting a job because you only did 3-4 months of education, right? So like that's how I look at it, right? And dude, a year is perfect. You're just talking about practical education where you're getting as close to live as possible in safe environments.
It's kind of like what you said with the whole, like you get your students to learn get actions. Like first off, like I said, that was tremendous because I see people to this day that don't know how to use Git still. And either they'll get like a Git test desktop client or something like that. They don't know like they don't know how to do a Git pull. They don't know how to rebase. They don't know how to do anything. So if we can drill that practical sense into a kid who's 18 years old, yo, the sky's the limit for that kid. Imagine making $80,000 at 19 years old.
I have that in my family right now. I know not 19. It's 23, no college debt, making $90,000. And that boy is he's a monster. Like, oh, this is a new problem because I was like, you should never. I was like, kids with liquid income is hey up. He's like, he wanted to go, but he was for a person that was civilian. He was like, I want to go get a Mustang. I was like, you sound like a Marine, like stack your
Charger,
stack your paper, save, and then let's get something sensible that isn't going to kill you with car insurance. He's like, what? I'm like, yes, you get a car like that. You're going to get a car like that. They're going to kill you. Car insurance. You're 23.
Your car insurance is going to cost me the same as your note, if not more.
I told him that. I was like, I had to educate this guy because he's 23. I'm like, man. But I'm like, I probably been like this if I was like 23 getting with $90,000.
The economy is going to be on a better track too as well with the higher consumer spending.
Yeah, I know, right? And they're like, yo, you weren't helping the economy. I'm like, nah.
I
So,
am now at 19.
But yeah, well, this is great, guys. I just got pinged. I have to go pick up the dogs, so I gotta wrap. We got to wrap this. I know. I can
we
come
didn't
back on
get
too.
we didn't get to the squirrel stories, but hey, we can have you on.
All right,
anytime,
cool.
man.
Real quick, with the squirrel story, I gotta go.
Okay.
So Sunday, family. There was a tabby that happened, and there was a tabby that attacked a bunch of baby squirrels in the backyard. And
tabby?
Yeah, one of the neighbors said like a tabby that's just running around like an orange cat is running around, just coming around like running up on baby squirrels. So so we're all at the kitchen. There's a door near the kitchen, and we just hear boom, like it looked a real knocking. I look up, there ain't nobody there. I look down, I'm hearing a bunch of chirping. There's a goddamn squirrel right here chirping at the door to like essentially, yo, let me in. Like, yeah, let me in. So I'm like, well, I'm like, yo, it's a wild animal. I'm gonna let nature take its course and handle it. Wife, he's like, boy, you don't get out there, get that. I'm like, why do I have to do this? She's like, all right, cool. So now I'm out here, I get the squirrel. Baby squirrel. I'm like, okay, what are we gonna do? I was like, I get a box and I'm like poke holes in it. I'm like gonna put the squirrel in there until like it's safe to come out and like redo it. They're like, no, you can't do that. Wife gets up. Now mind you, my wife don't drive anywhere. I do all the driving. She gets up, grab the keys, drives to Walmart, gets a bunch of like hamster stuff, and a cage, and they make a home for this squirrel. And I'm like, nothing good can happen from what I'm witnessing right now. So that's going down, and I'm like, this is a problem. I'm like, all right, rules: don't name the squirrel. One rule: don't name the squirrel. Squirrel's named the squirrel. Don't name the squirrel. I'm downstairs. I'm teaching. I come back up, and the teenager's like, we named the squirrel Jesse because Jesse could be a boy or a girl. We don't know what it is. And I'm like, ugh. No, I told y'all don't name the squirrel. So now I'm on the Georgia Wildlife website. I'm like, oh, squirrels are illegal, right? Look, it's on the website. You can't have a squirrel. And my wife said, oh, we get a special permit. I'm like, damn, you read that too, huh? So now I'm on the phone. I'm playing phone tag all day, trying to get a squirrel permit. And now I had to go to Georgia Wildlife, and I'm there for like 7 hours trying to explain the situation because it's all, it's a big deal. Like, oh, this is considered like something you can hunt here. Why do you want to? Like, it's just a squirrel. Like in Tennessee, it's normal. So I'm there, and I'm getting this permit, a special permit for a goddamn squirrel. So I'm mad as hell. And then just to come so that's now I'm a squirrel dad. I'm hashtag squirrel dad now with. Like, my kids have decided they're gonna keep the squirrel. And I'm like, all I wanted to do was have the squirrel like safe. I didn't even have a squirrel safe. I'm not even gonna lie. I was like, survival of the fittest. This is what's supposed to happen. It's a squirrel. Squirrels become food.
The circle of life. Lion King.
Yeah, I was like, cats eat rodents. Squirrels are a rodent. I'm like, this is like a fluffy mouse. I don't like this.
It's just a rat with a fluffy tail.
Exactly. I pulled up all I'm like, no, they have claws, their teeth hurt, they need a lot of energy, they eat a lot of food. I showed them all the cons of why we should not have a squirrel, and nobody listened to me. Absolutely nobody. So I was like, wow, like I have lost control of the inmates in this prison. Like, this is wild. So yeah, that was and mind you, today's only Thursday, so that's been my week. I've been dealing with between my wife have her allergies and the squirrel. Those have been like the biggest things. Man,
you got some big life changes going on.
Maybe you can spin it as a squirrel allergy and get rid of it.
Oh,
that ain't gonna work. My wife would go to the doctor and get tested. Like, nah.
Just say like, I haven't noticed your allergies really didn't kick in until that squirrel knocked on that door.
No, her allergies kicked in when some dogwood opened up, and she was like, "Yo, they trying to kill me out here in these streets." It's true.
I guess she definitely can't go to the dogwood festival then.
You're the second person to recommend her going to the dogwood festival, and she was like, "Are you trying to get murder me? Like, just say you don't like me and move on with your day." I was like, "Damn, that's cold, bro." But yeah. So that's a squirrel story. That's where my life is right now. There's a squirrel upstairs of my house. He has his harness came in, so they got a squirrel harness for him and everything. And I'm just like, this is ridiculous. Like, I cannot believe, like, who goes on Amazon and type in squirrel harness? I'm like,
do you? That was another question I was gonna have. Do you go on Amazon and type in squirrel food?
I
doing
am
that right
going
now.
on.
I just assume you're gonna get a bunch of nuts from the yard.
No, they have squirrel food and like they have like a diet and stuff, but I ain't type squirrel anything in Amazon. I am not on Team Squirrel. Like, I'm not Team Jess at all. Like,
Sorry, Jesse,
you're
you
like,
gotta go.
yeah,
Dang,
he
anti-Jesse,
ain't
man.
gonna go. Yes, anti-Jesse. Jesse, I vote no for Jesse. Like, that's where I'm at. Right? I came on like, yeah, these kids really came into this house and gave the squirrel a name that I didn't vote for it because it was like, oh, well, it could be a girl name or a guy name. So either way, it's Jess. It's like, okay, it's too much. So yeah. And now I have, but yeah. So other than that, but yeah, I got to go get these dogs. And it was, yeah, great talking to you.
Catch you later, man. Hey, we appreciate you, man.
All right, yeah, it's fun.
Hey, this will be the first of many, so we can link up another time.
Whatever, man.
Cool. I'll ping y'all again. Like, I'll be in your DMs real fast, real soon.
All right, man. Hey, gotta go grab those dogs, man. But appreciate you stopping by, Jerome. Till next time.
All right, till next time. Thank y'all.
Later, bro.
Later.
All right. So yeah,
we can still keep going.
Oh no, we can keep going. No, because I wanted to touch on something that he was talking about in regards to like the issue like in the military with suicides and stuff like that. It was like, yeah, because when I was working at Georgia Tech, that's when I was doing those government contracts, and it was just that's when I built that like analytical software for like all the Army bases to go ahead and just put in information related to like those issues, which I don't know if that's a key word we can't say on YouTube. I don't know, but to those issues and the process before, bro, they were passing around a Microsoft Access database, and they were screwed up so bad where the data was fucked up. So you got like people who are actually going through this issue, like how he brought up the DOD doesn't recognize this information and stuff like that. He is true. It's just the data is fucked up, and not even like there's no integrity in the data whatsoever if you're passing around a Microsoft Access database.
There's no like if anybody can access it, modify anything. Like, how do you know what is clean actual data to use? Right.
That is true, because like you have some bases with like one Army related case, and then you have another base with 50, but you'd never know, like because someone the actual and like let's be real, the government's. We put all our money in the military. Now, military tech is a different beast. Now, tech on the bases, bro, I'm talking Windows 7 after being deprecated. That's what they're using.
Bro, like that just reminds me, not necessarily military, but just like government tech in general. It blows my mind because we have some of the most sophisticated technology with our weaponry. And then I'm sure you remember healthcare.gov when that came out, how trash that shit was.
Yeah, and it couldn't support an overload of everyone, all the users when they opened up the Obamacare forms.
Because like I had a classmate that I did my boot camp with, and they got hired on as consultants to fix healthcare.gov after that shit was so trash. And then I remember he would ask me stuff because like he was mostly a back-end guy and he was asking me for front-end stuff, and I was like, yeah, dude, like do virtual lists and shit, like because he was responsible for because like a lot of the I guess people hitting up the website, they were doing it on their cell phones, and a lot of people that need government healthcare might not have the best like iPhones or whatever. So like how do you scroll through stuff like that? This is back in like what, like 2012 or something like that. So I remember he was like, yo, dog, like, how do I do this shit? And I was like, yo, try this, try that. And just the idea that, like, there's so much room for improvement within these government services that seem like easy fixes on a technological standpoint, right? Like you said, like, why are we passing around this database? Like, why not just do like a proper hosted service, with proper security keys, rotating keys, stuff like that, just to make sure that it's safe.
I didn't do all that, honestly. I did build like a little quick Angular project for them to go ahead and input their data and then, connect with our servers and stuff like that. But it was eye-opening. It was really eye-opening because they literally flew me out to San Antonio for the MedCom base and just to press a button. because they didn't know how. They didn't know how to operate the software, even if we give them like tutorial and all that. I don't mind. It was a free flight. It was a free hotel. I had a good time. So, but it was just eye-opening of just like after we launched that first round of just them using the software, which all they did was people flew in from different army bases and chilled in one room and then read through each and every case. And I'm not gonna lie, bro, I teared up a couple of times, bro, because it was like it was sad, bro. It was army related deaths. It was incidents that happened. Like it was just sad shit. And I was like, damn, I built this shit for some sad things. And afterwards, we got recognized by the Pentagon because it was like we didn't know all this was going on in terms of like the data integrity and stuff like that, and all like the trends. That's where they go based off more than anything else. So they noticed a spike in trends because number one, it could be something going on too as well. Number two, it's data integrity. So that's what it really came down to.
Yeah, like it might not be a spike. It might have just always been like that, just not having the reliable data itself. And it's eye-opening, like not only as for us as civilians, but like even the government departments where now they can like, oh shit, this shit's actually way worse than we thought it was. And then, maybe they can make some legislation or like some type of plan to address these issues on whatever they need to do.
But it's on a light note, man. On a light note, I'm not gonna lie. I've been going through an emotional roller coaster all week with these Atlanta Falcons,
bruh. The Falcons, the Braves, like all types of stuff going on right now with Atlanta sports.
A lot of stuff going on in Atlanta. There's a certain player that I'm waiting for him to say I want to go there and let's complete this trade. I think that's why. So if you guys don't know, there's a player named Deshaun Watson. He grew up in Gainesville, Georgia. He won a national championship with the University of Clemson. He played for Houston Texans. Some bullshit happened. He beat his case. Well, meaning they didn't find anything. He couldn't charge him with anything. So the civil suits. I could who will forget a haircut today, and then we'll have a civil suit. But he beat his charge, and he's a top 5 quarterback, and he actually wants to play for the Atlanta Falcons. Oh my God, bro, I've been going through it all, man. I've been in meetings. I've been on my phone, just looking like, oh shit, is this it? Oh shit, the Falcons are trying to make a trade. Oh man, I'm not gonna lie, man. I'm getting season tickets this year. I feel like it's gonna happen. I feel like I need to do it before they announce it.
And then flip them next year, huh?
Oh no!
No, you're gonna hold on to them. You're a real fan.
I'm a real fan, bro.
I know. Bro. I know. Yeah. The viewers and listeners might not know.
Yeah. I'm a real fan, bro. And it's sad. It's kind of like when I buy sneakers and somebody will say, "Are you gonna flip those?" Yeah, I'm gonna flip those. I get the shoes. I look at them. I put them on my feet. I'm like, I'm keeping these. What am I doing, man?
I haven't flipped a pair of sneakers in so long. Granted, I don't buy sneakers as much as I used to, but like, even if I buy 2 pairs, I'm like, no, I'm just gonna keep these on ice and just wear them later once these ones wear out.
Oh, I'm buying a lot of shoes this month.
Oh yeah?
It's Air Max month.
Shit, you're right. Dang, dog.
Yeah. There's been a lot of collaborations that I paid slightly over retail for too as well. I can't lie. And yeah, man, it's a hell of a month, man. It's birthday month, Air Max month, playoff starts soon. March Madness started last night.
We're working on a little something that the people don't know about yet, but trying to make some moves.
We got stuff going on behind the scenes because hey, my thing is like you grind in silence, success will speak for itself. Because people don't have to know what you're doing all the time, man.
You ain't gotta flex it up.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I flex up this code though. All right. Oh man.
All right, what was so dev balancing? What was that for our?
I wanted to talk to him how he's balanced. He had to skate and take care of his dogs, but I wanted to. I got to rename the name of the episode, but it was mainly about like how does he balance it all? I mean,
because he's full time at Microsoft.
He just had a baby. He
has
VetsWhoCode.
But he said he does 2 hours a day with VetsWhoCode.
And then now we're talking behind the scenes about something. So it's kind of like
for an hour. Now we're talking behind the scenes. That's like another stuff.
And now he got a squirrel. So I want to talk to how he balances all this shit out.
That's really Captain America, man. What else can I say?
Yeah, because I'm trying. I look at it as I'm Batman. I do all my work at night.
You're up late. You're up late coding.
Yeah, so Yeah, I want to talk to him about how he does balancing, but we can bring him back another time.
You know,
I had a
we'll do
great
more
time.
episodes, I'm sure. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
we'll do
sure
more.
we might have a like an announcement episode or something, you know?
Yeah. But when we get there, we'll cross the bridge. We'll make the announcement. But hey, man, you down to do an outro?
I mean, I guess if I have to, bro, you know,
Oh, we
for
can
all
keep
the
going.
algorithms. Oh, speaking of outro, we gotta re-record our thing.
Oh, the sponsors.
Yeah. We
Oh
gotta do
yeah.
that.
All right. So it's funny because like on every episode you hear it.
Mhm.
Sorry if everyone had to hear the Anchor sponsorship. We're gonna redo it again. I know it sounded old back then, but hey, we had a good time trying.
Hey, man, you know, you live, you learn.
Yeah.
But as always, it's been your boys.
We do got one more sponsorship, man.
Okay.
Jerome brought up the diamonds. I was gonna tell you, I was gonna say, hey man, who will plug it in?
Hey, that's true. Shout out to your boy's girl, my wife, with rushipandco.com. Shit, you know what? I should put him in the descriptions.
Hey, you should. You
Yeah.
hey, get us a banner or something, man. Come
Yeah.
on, man.
Use code Peachtree Devs for 5% off, or DM your boy. I might be able to
Sure.
hook something else up for you.
Oh yeah, so we got one sponsor, man. We got Anchor. We had to do like a little commercial. So if you listen to like the audio version of this, which is kind of ironic if someone is listening to the audio version, it's kind of meta right now. It's an actual like sponsorship thing we had to record. So yeah,
I think we
got
made like
sponsor, man.
$1 so far, you know.
Oh yeah, $1, boy.
I think we're up to $1 now.
$1.
I'm about to check it live right now just to see, because
Hey, we get to 10, bro. I'm buying. We need to buy someone Starbucks.
oh shit, bro, we're at $3.07.
Let's go.
That's a coffee, baby.
A cheap coffee. but, but yeah, man. It was really informative talking to Jerome and stuff like that. I mean, it's really inspiring too as well. And it's good to meet people like that who just all they care about is really putting people on. Like that gets them, I guess, that gets them off more than anything else. It's just putting people on or seeing people, not necessarily just like you, but seeing people that have similar backgrounds to you to succeed, because everybody doesn't see this avenue of success of becoming a developer or even getting into UX or any of the tech fields, because I didn't see it. We had an individual, a person we had on the old episodes, start with a C, that I helped like tutor and stuff like that and show him like, yo, you can be a developer too. And he's from Lithonia too. And now he's making 6 figures too as well. So I get off on him being successful more so than me. Cause like Jerome said, money's money, man. When a wise person told me stop chasing money, that changed like my whole perspective on life, basically. And
yeah, like I want to make money now to like not necessarily flex up, but like kind of like how Jerome was saying, like that's families that you're feeding. So like if I like make my own software company and I hire 20 devs, that's 20 families that I'm putting on, you know, like try to share the wealth with them. Like that's like something that motivates me, because like the same way, like, you know, shout out to 404, like we're out there doing community events and stuff, you know, just trying to put people on that, like, hey, technology might be the way for you out. Because like shit, that's why we started this podcast, because we was working at the Orange Company, being the only pretty much brown dudes, and we're like, yo,
Orange Company. Oh yeah, they fired the other guy.
We were the only engineers. I mean, he was the designer, right? I mean, nothing wrong with designers. This isn't looking down on them, guys. Y'all are super, super important to what we do in the tech community.
They fired my boy Chris, bro. And I'm sorry we going back to this, but they got security to walk him out. Yo, this guy is 5'4", 5'5" at on best day.
They had security, bro. I was like, bro.
I'm like, bro, why you just let the man walk away with dignity?
Nah, but like that's the whole thing, right? Like putting people on, because like somebody told me that like once you get a certain level of money, it doesn't matter like if you go from like $500,000 to like 600,000, that ain't changing your life. But if that's that extra 100,000, you pass that on to someone else, that's life changing over there.
I mean, it's kind of like the thing I want to do with like the 1-year program. That's changing lives, but I need money to fund that. So that's the thing. That's the thing. I need to go ahead and accomplish things so the kids can say, "Oh shit, he did that. I can do it too."
Yeah,
that's what
like,
I do it for.
That's what the money is now. Like, cause like all my needs are met. Now it's more about buying freedom to do what I want to do. And what I want to do is put
Exactly.
people on, like, instead of like just doing the 9 to 5. Like I realize like if we do, for example, the school that you're talking about, we're probably going to spend more time doing that than we are doing our 9 to 5s right now.
Yeah.
But that's because we want to do that shit, not necessarily because we got bills to pay.
Yeah, and we're gonna see the results. We're gonna see the kids that we're putting on for this. It's just gonna get us off more and so than just getting my bonus, getting my salary, getting my stock, which is cool. I mean, it's just money now at this point.
No, like that's how I always joke. It's like my son Musa, right? I'm like, anytime Musa makes a come, I'm like, yeah, let's go, Musa.
Yeah. Every time you say, man, when Musa was on talking about buying his house and how he told me the stories of how he used to work at Kroger to spending $800 on his car and not caring about it no more.
Bro,
Like,
that shit made me feel so good, bro. I was like, yeah.
Musa, man. Like, shout out to Musa, man. But I mean, not just him. I mean, even with Quest too as well. I mean, shout out to Quest. Him.
Yeah, he had his kid. He was like, yo, like I'll show this stuff, happened. And then shout out to Quez, man. Like he's out here.
That's inspirational, man. That's more so like and that's why I tell people all the time, like I don't really give a shit about no view. I really care about if we can affect that one person, and then each one teach one from there, man. Like you said, 20 families. Those 20 families help 20 families. Next thing you know, what we got? What? Big man, 4,000. Come on, 400 families. Yeah, man. Man,
that's thousands of people. Like that's potentially thousands of people that we're helping helping put food on their tables.
It only takes one. It only takes
like
one.
that's the move, right? Like money's
rename it. Only takes one.
Damn, that's the rebrand. That's the rebrand.
Yeah, VetsWhoCode, and it only takes one. But hey, I'm good to leave on that note, man. I'm gonna go ahead and get some food before all my 3 nephews and niece come in town tomorrow.
Oh yeah, got nice family weekend coming up.
Oh yeah, big family weekend. It's 6 of them. So I know in a 2-bedroom condo. So we're gonna have a little full house gang going on. So
nice. That'll be fun.
They're from Orlando, so I always take them here to have a good time. They're always so fascinated about Atlanta. So. Yeah,
the big city, right? Even though Orlando is a pretty big city to itself.
Yeah, but they kind of spaced out, so it's kind of like
feels like not like the city.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Last time they were here, they were so happy about Chipotle being 10 minutes from the crib, like 5-10 minutes from the crib.
And you're like Chipotle.
Chipotle. That's what
you're in Atlanta. Let's go do this. Let's go do that.
Like, yeah, we want Chipotle. We want Chipotle. I was like. All right, I'll be right back. Yeah, but
it was funny actually, because like that reminds me like when I used to visit my cousin in New York. Being from McRae, we didn't have no Italian restaurants, so me and my brother were just wandering around the city. We saw an Olive Garden. We're like, hell yeah, let's get some Olive Garden, right? We told my cousin, he was like, "What the fuck are you doing in New York eating Olive Garden? We got real Italian food." I'm like, bro. I know that shit.
That's all you knew, man. Shit, to me, Ruby Tuesdays was a hidden gem back growing up in Lithonia.
Shit.
Hey, Red Lobster was gourmet,
bro. Biscuits, bro.
Yeah, I'm saying the endless shrimp. When you go there that one time, you know your mom got paid good that day,
bro. We used to hit up Cece's Pizza for the all you can eat.
Oh, bro, we used to go with Ziploc bags.
I remember like, we're going to Cece's tomorrow. I'm gonna eat a small ass dinner. I ain't gonna eat no breakfast. We about to just fill up on this shit.
We'll fill up, get the Ziploc bags, take what we can, leave. Man, that's crazy.
Shout out to Cargo Pants.
Cece's Pizza. Damn, that's Jabos. But yeah, man. I'm gonna grab some food, man. So I gotta clean up too.
True.
Ready to do the YouTube thing?
Cool. As always, thanks for listening. It's your boys, the Peachtree Devs.
Yeah.
We appreciate you.
We do.
Subscribe, like, comment.
All that.
Hit the bell icon. It's down here.
Bing, bing.
You're going to want to hit that because we need it.
I mean, we'll need it. Well, hey, it's all about the content, man. We're going to push it out every Thursday, no matter what. Tune in, tell your friends, check us out.
Have fun. Maybe learn something.
Yeah, man. You may learn. I might learn something too.
Make some connects. That's a big thing.
That is a big thing. Hold on. My internet's
Oh
actually-
man, the Jujutsu Kaisen movie coming out though.
Oh, all right, bet I'm gonna check that out there. All right, Slora. But yeah, appreciate everybody listening in on your podcast platform, whether you're sitting in traffic, whether you're writing code. Hey man, each one teach one, man. That's the
Keep
thing,
pushing.
man. Keep pushing. And just like that, we are gone.